Imagine being a father, showing up to church with your family and realizing this space wasn't made for you. You're juggling sensory overload, stares, and the quiet understanding that no one really knows how to support your child. That's a reality for so many families in your community. 1 in 12 children has a diagnosed developmental disability. 1 in 60 children has an intellectual disability. 1 in 111 children has a mobility-related disability. 10% of the population lives with a disability, and yet most churches don't reflect that.
Why? Because families affected by disability aren't staying home by choice. They've been left out. For too long, churches have said, we're not equipped for that. And while that may feel true, it's no longer an excuse. Inclusion isn't optional, it's biblical.
When the church leaves out families affected by disabilities, we're not just missing an opportunity, we're failing to reflect the gospel. Paul couldn't have said it more clearly in 1 Corinthians 12:22. The parts of the body that seem weaker are indispensable. These families aren't just important, they're essential. And ignoring them, that's a failure we can't afford.
These families are indispensable. Their gifts, their presence, their faith, it's all essential to the church. And it's time for us to reflect that in how we minister and create spaces where they belong.
That's why we created Inclusive Pathways. This isn't just a checklist or a feel-good initiative. It's a call to action for churches to move beyond good intentions and take real, meaningful steps towards inclusion.
Inclusive Pathways equips churches to become places where families affected by disability don't just feel welcomed, they belong. We address the practical, relational, and spiritual needs of both families and the community. Here's how we equip churches to take the next step. We start with identifying gaps in your current programs, facilities, and culture. We train church staff and volunteers on everything from understanding sensory needs to learning practical ways to support families. We prepare your team to serve every family well. We guide you in making your church spaces physically accessible and welcoming to all. We help you build children's ministry, youth group, and worship environments that engage and include every child and adult, no matter their abilities.
This isn't just about adding one more thing to your plate. It's about realigning your church with the heart of the gospel. Families affected by disabilities don't want to just sit in the back row. They want to serve, grow, and be a part of the life of the church. They're not looking for pity. They're looking for a place to belong.
Inclusion doesn't happen by accident. It takes intentionality, but it's worth every step. That's why Inclusive Pathways exists, to walk alongside your church and give you the tools to create a culture where every family knows they are valued. Church leaders, this is your moment. Families affected by disability are already in your community. The question is, will your church be ready to welcome them?
What kind of church do you want to be? The one that waits for change or the one that leads the way? Inclusive Pathways isn't just a program, it's a way to transform your church into a place that reflects heaven itself.
When you say you belong here, you're doing more than opening doors. You're creating a church where the love of Christ is tangible, where every family knows they are fully seen, valued, and celebrated.
Let Inclusive Pathways be your guide. Together, we can build churches where families affected by disability don't just attend, they thrive.
This is your moment. Take the first step today.
Because when we say you belong here, we reflect the very heart of God.